Hi, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on what part of the world you're joining us from. My name is Brenda Unu, and I am your host on this women's talk show called Women's Matters. So, hey Ruth, we missed you. Thank you for joining. So amazing to see you. So we're going to be continuing our International Women's Day series. We've been talking about women in different fields, and all of the amazing things that they're doing, and all the ways that we can continue to encourage women in these fields, and also to help to empower others even as they think about joining in these fields. Good evening. Good evening. Nice of you to join us. Thank you so much. So today we shall be having a conversation about women in STEM. So what is STEM? You know what STEM is: science, technology, engineering, and math. Now, if you just hear about it alone, it's not to make you feel like, oh God, that is for men, right? Right. And welcome, Grace. Nice of you to join us. And so when we think about things like that, we always say, this field is for men. But these days, we have women killing it in STEM, killing it. And there are so many organizations trying to encourage girls, encourage women to get into STEM, get in, because guess what? We all have this exact same brain that guys have. God didn't make their own differently. He made us with the same brain. So we have everything we need to go in and excel in STEM as much as we can excel in every other field of human endeavor. So today I'm going to bring in one of my friends, an amazing, amazing lady who's killing it in the field of what she does. And she'll be sharing with us her experience so far and how we can encourage other young women to jump into it. I mean, I have tons of friends in STEM. I myself, I always say I'm in STEM. I'm a woman in STEM. I'm an architect by profession, if you remember, right? And so we're all in the science, engineering, engineering bracket as well, and we spend time encouraging young girls to get into it. You know how young girls will sit and say, oh, I don't want to do that, I want to do arts, I want to make it simple. We just want to encourage them that there are tons of opportunities in the STEM sector for women, and women can do well and excel. I mean, excuse me, I found there are lots and loads of opportunities, loads of scholarships for women getting into STEM. Even right here in Nigeria, there's some also right there in America and across the whole North America as well as Europe. Everybody's just wanting to encourage women to jump into STEM. So when we find them, we encourage them and we say, go for it. Grace, I can't seem to find my guest. She isn't here yet. Grace, do you mind helping me go and fetch her? Thank you. Let us know where she is and what is going on. Is she finding it difficult to join us? Let's know. So, what shall we be talking about? Last week was International Women's Day. How was it for you? If you can you type in the chat and tell us how it was for you? Mine was amazing. I had a full weekend just celebrating International Women's Day. I started off by going to speak at an event. Thank you, Grace. I started going to speak at an event. And this event was amazing. It was I've never done something in the aviation sector before. So when I was invited, I jumped on it. I was like, I want to go and meet the women that are in aviation. So I jumped on it and I went there and I spoke to them, and they were so warm, such an amazing audience. I mean, I totally enjoyed my time with them, and I learned something about them as well. I just learned that we women, we are all the same, regardless of where we are, what we do, and where we find ourselves. So they went all out. Like, they were all decked in purple. They had the balloons, they had even little purple cupcakes and little gift bags in purple. It was so cute. I was like, oh my God, that's HR that is working. And I really, really enjoyed myself with them. And after that, I went to hang out with my friend who was moderating at a SPARE Nigeria lecture series for women. Now, what is SPARE? SPARE is the Society of Petroleum Engineers. Oh, our guest is here. Hi, Miss Kalu. Nice of you to join us. Thank you for joining. Okay. So after that, let me just International Women's Day. So after that, I went on to thank you, Grace. Yay!
Full disclosure, I was waiting and I'm like, what is going on? How am I not able to connect? That
Oh
was
my
why
God.
Gracie called me and said, you have to
Join the live first.
So it was Gracie to the rescue. If not,
Thank you,
I was
Grace.
like, what is going on? See, I even GMG, like, what's going on?
I just thought
I,
about it that where is she? I know we had been talking and you were ready, and I was
I'm
like,
here.
where is she? I'll get this
I
meeting.
will use lipstick for you.
You know? Oh, come on. So nice to see you today, Bimbo. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Bimbo is her name, Bimbo Lao, but you know what? When she went to America, they started calling her Abby. So she's now Abby. Shall we call you Bimbo or shall we call you Abby?
Call me Bimbala.
Bimbo, please, so that I don't chop my tongue. Oh my goodness, nice of you to join us today, Bimbo. I'm super excited to have you here to grace one of these series. It's we're doing the International Women's Day series.
Yeah.
I told earlier introduced before you joined us that we're women and we don't take small. When they're celebrating us a little, we take the whole month. We
Yes,
say,
so.
forget it, just because
Yes,
we're great like that.
yes,
So we've
so.
grabbed the whole month of March, and we're going to be to celebrate women. And so we're trying to celebrate women across different fields of endeavor to show, to have them tell their stories, what it's like to be in that field, and how to encourage others to join. And that's how Abi, see our hot red. And I was almost wearing red when I said, no, my dress has a bit of pink. Let me not do red. That's how I would have been cleaning with our red.
Yes, so.
All right. So
I think you got muted. Hey, Becky. Becca, my sister of life. How are you?
okay, sorry. I had calls coming in, so I just went to go and put it on Do Not
Okay,
Disturb. I forgot to do that before.
that's
So yeah,
fine.
we're back into our conversation, and yes, I said that we've been talking about women in different fields of endeavor, and so we're here to have you talk to us about STEM.
Yeah.
Before you joined, I was telling people that STEM is something that when you just hear it's, science, technology, engineering, maths, already like, hey, God, this is for the guys. Just give them, let the rest of us breathe. But what got you attracted to the whole STEM field? What got you? Tell me. First of all, what's your background? What did you study in school, and how did you get into
I
STEM?
studied classics with a minor in communication from the University of Ibadan. So it was,
Wow.
I, I had I never liked maths. I never liked sciences.
Mm.
So it was always something that I always it was always something that I always avoided.
Shied away from. Hmm.
So when I finished and I started working in V-Mobile, now Etel in Nigeria, that was where the
Yeah.
whole thing started from. Because then I was a customer care person, but we
Okay.
were using 6, 7 systems at the same time to work. One to validate customer, two to
Yeah.
check their history, three to resolve the issues. And there were
Mm.
even some that had short codes where you had to write the programming language
Mm.
for you to get some things. And that was where my curiosity and everything came into
Mm.
light. I did training and development and fast track. I relocated about 11 years ago. When
Okay.
I came in, I I was like, I don't have this. Everybody was like, you have to do care job, you have to do this. But I know I don't have it in me. I don't
I
have it. I
cannot.
am empathetic, but I don't know how to do it. So I started trying to figure out what can I do. And then I
Mm.
realized like everything boils down to if you know Microsoft, you know everything. If you know
Mm.
systems, you know everything. So that was how I started to get interested in Epic, Cerner. I was doing go lives and everything. And then I started to earn my skills and started reading more to discover like
Okay.
what is it that I can have opening for. And fortunately for me, my sister was here and she was doing her master's in in MBA and doing it in MIT Management Information System. And
Okay.
with that, I just started to read. I'm somebody that is into process improvement. I'm somebody that is into projects. I love planning,
Mm.
organizing,
Mm.
writing structures, and all that. So, long story short, I got the opportunity to get a job as a business analyst. So
Mm.
when I got the job, I used all my background, my Excel, my everything and I
Yeah.
started using it. The good thing was IT is very broad. You can be a
Mm-hmm.
functional person, you can be a technical person.
Right.
You can write processes, you can do change management, you can do a whole lot. It's just
Mm-hmm.
finding that niche of what you really want. So my first role when I joined Exelon, Exelon is a utility company here in America, in
Okay.
Maryland.
Okay.
We run Baltimore Gas and Electric. So I got a role there, and my first opportunity there was to work as the lead in charge of diversity and inclusion. All I was
Look at
to do
that.
was check their processes, make sure that we had tier one companies that were partnering with tier zero company,
Hmm.
and building relationship. And you know me, I like to meet people, I like to mingle, and
Right.
I succeeded there. But I was a contractor, and I was like, I wanted a full-time position. And then in
Mm-hmm.
the full-time position that I got as a senior business analyst in customer ops. I thought
Okay.
it was, oh, I worked in the call center before. I
That'll be fine.
understand what
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be cool. And we're talking about outbound calls and all that. So credits and collection. So when I had
Hmm.
credit and collection, she used to call people and have them write the
Please,
structure of
have you
how they
paid your
will call.
bill?
So I was excited about the role. My sister, I resumed. They now gave me, because you know when they write your role, it's always generic.
Yeah.
Just like the person that will improve process, this, that, that. I now
Mm-hmm.
resumed. I sat down with my manager, and then she was like, oh, you have to write SQL queries. You have to know how to do data dump. You have to. I was like, hey. She saw the
Wahala.
shock in my look. She said, Abby, I interviewed you. I know you can do it. And I said, okay, let's see how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And that was how my journey into data analytics started. I had to
Mm.
learn in my old age
I know.
how to write query. I had to start using SAS. I learned how to use how to write SQL. I did some SQL training, and I did a lot. And then one thing I love about my company is they
Hmm.
foster diversity, and they also like you to work in partnership.
Right.
So I had to reach out to all our quantitative analysts. Oh, this is where I don't have my strengths are. This is where my weaknesses is. That's where you do the SWOT analysis. I did a SWOT
Mm-hmm.
analysis for myself, and I like what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses, and where are areas of opportunities.
Right.
I didn't see it as weaknesses. I saw it as what are my areas of opportunities.
Right.
And then I wrote down what my areas of opportunities, and mingled with the people that could teach me. And that
Of
was how I
course.
started writing the inner joint, the outer joint. I was able
Wow.
to generate my numbers. I was able to tell a story with my numbers. And that was
Mm-hmm.
how I started growing. And I moved from there to another role. And then I became a lead. Now I started
Mm.
leading people. I started hiring business analysts. I started training. And then I started learning how to grow myself. I got my PMP. I was a Scrum
Mm.
Master before, but I got my PMP and I just started improving myself. Now I'm a
Amazing.
principal analyst. I manage money, I manage supply, I manage programs across from DC all the way to New Jersey right now. So it's
Wow.
just about having that hunt to want to improve and do better for yourself, basically.
Amazing, amazing, and your story really, really inspires me because I mean I have a friend of mine as well who was telling me her story about how she ventured into tech, and for me I thought it was like really amazing, and truly her path was also similar to yours, which is she went through the business analyst path. So I've always been very curious about what is this business analyst? What do they really do? Because there are so many roles in tech. When you hear about them, you're like, hey, what's this one again? Data processing, this one, that one, that. And I used to think that tech was basically the engineering of stuff, right? It was engineering of stuff, the writing of the programs and all of those other, really, how will I put it, hammer and metal things. I never really thought about it that there was also the process side, like you mentioned. There's process side, there's even the admin side and all of that. So share with me if I had maybe a BA in English, for example, or some other arts kind of course, and I wanted to find my way into tech. I wanted to get like you. Maybe I'm a new immigrant, and I don't want to do care work. I want to find my way into IT, into tech world. What would I do? What would you suggest that we start
Okay,
with?
Okay, really, for a lot of people that I mentor or I talk with,
Yeah.
I always tell them that there's no knowledge that is lost. Even
True.
if you work, if you start, I studied communicate. I did classics, minor in communication in University of Ibadan. That's language.
Okay.
But the thing is, what I had done as the call center has already opened me to processes. As
Mm.
even if you are even a nurse, even if you are a anything you are,
Right.
you are open to processes. You are open to different stuff. A business analyst is like the middle person. It's bridging the gap between the business and technology. You can tell a
Okay.
business analyst, for example, I have a website. It takes people 5 minutes to log in, and from logging to going into the site to read things. I
Yeah.
want it to be done in 3 minutes. A business analyst
Okay.
looks at things critically from outside or in and writes use
Okay.
cases or gather requirements and says, these are ways in which we can improve this process. A
Right.
business analyst will look at situation as it is and look at how they can improve the process. So everything is all about processing. Is about what the situation is now.
Mm-hmm.
How can I improve it?
I love
That
it.
is a functional person.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You studied English. A business analyst can work in any field.
Right.
I've worked in an hospital. I'm working in utilities now. I've worked in
Mm.
telecoms. It
Okay.
opens you to different things. And like right now, I'm working with distribution standards. I'm an English student. I'm taking care of network transformers. And I'm taking care of all the street lights relamping. I'm
Mm.
taking care of all our EV chargers. I'm not an engineer. I have engineers that work with me. But
Right.
I look at them and I'm like, okay, this is how you're doing this. How can we improve the
Improve the
process?
process.
Can you do this? Can you do that? How, okay, we are doing this in 1 month. It's possible to do it in 3 days. How
Mm.
can we break that flow? What are the things you have? SMEs. That's why you have SMEs, subject matter experts, who will
Yeah.
tell you and guide you and tell you this is how this is done, this is how this is done. And then you
Mm.
start to
And
ask
you come
probing
with your own
questions.
process brain to help.
Exactly.
Ah, I love it.
So
I mean, this is a very relevant field, actually.
yes, it is.
Very,
Yes, it
very.
is. So you manage, so you can work as a program manager, you can work as an analyst that, okay, and the good thing about it is as a business analyst, you can work in 5 different processes. You can work as a change management agent.
Okay.
You can work as somebody that writes user stories. You can do requirement gathering. You can do
Mm.
different things. The world is your, the world is just for you to just tap into it and say, this is
Mm.
what I want to do and this is how I can adapt. It is not
Oh.
about writing codes. It is not about having
Mm.
DevOps. That is an added code to
Yeah.
it. I tell people, once you can use Microsoft Office, once you can use 360, every other thing is adjacent. It is just then you
Even me
developing
now,
yourself and
I'm not
pumping.
even interested in this business analyst. So come on. At this point, it's sounding very interesting. Honestly, I'm
Yeah.
thinking about it that you know what I could do with this
Yeah.
skill, because honestly, I hear as you were speaking, and I thought about it that everybody wants processes to be
Yeah.
improved, and
Mhm.
it's the baseline of getting business better.
Yes.
So if we could find a way, to improve processes, why not? And if you could get that, harness that skill and be able to do it for several businesses or several even industries, you just become like one
Yeah.
MVP. I love it.
So,
I
yes,
love
so, yes,
it.
yes,
you know,
yes,
Somebody's asking
yes.
you to share your LinkedIn handle. Do you remember it now?
Yeah, it's Abimbala Kalu or Bims Kalu. Let me confirm
Okay.
LinkedIn.
Okay, she'll check and you can send her a DM to confirm that. Okay, I mean, I'm loving this. So this business analyst,
Abimbala Kalu. Yeah,
Abimbola Kalu.
yeah.
Okay, so it's Abimbola Kalu Emmanuel. So how do you prepare to be a business analyst, for example? What is there any training, any course? At least I know that if you want to do PMP now, you at least you go for the training, you write the exam. What is the path for a business analyst?
Okay, for me, I don't believe in people wasting money and paying people to train
Yeah.
because a lot of time I've worked in 4 different units in Excellent, for example, and all the units that I worked in, they're all different.
Right.
So, like, I started this new role in December. I'm still in the training phase because they will still train you, still tell you what is needed.
What they do,
But the
yeah.
core thing is having the core foundation and understanding, shadowing people, having mentors. That is key. I believe solely in that. And
Yeah.
I have LinkedIn Learning, have Udemy. And if you go on LinkedIn Learning, for example, there are loads and loads of trainings on
Yeah.
business analysis, what it takes to be a business analysis. And then you can then, while you're reading that, you see different types of business analyst roles that you can fit into. And then you now go with what you know that you would excel in the most. If you are
Okay.
not a good programmer, you're not a don't bother being a technical analyst. Just stick to your functional role.
Oh,
And if you are on the functional role, there are still lots and lots of things that you can
okay.
do as a functional analyst. But the
Okay.
key thing is, what do you enjoy doing?
Yeah.
What do you have a passion for? Once you discover that, that is 80% of the problem solved.
I get it. I like that. So so they don't have like a certification course or anything. Is there any such?
Um, so like in Canada, I know they have a certification to be a business analyst, but in America, you don't need
No,
that.
it's not.
All you
Okay.
need, even in America, you can even use your work experience to qualify
Okay.
for some roles.
Oh,
They are not,
okay.
they are not, education is not cast in stone.
They're not big
Yeah,
on certificates.
but, but you grow faster if you're educated.
Wow.
I'm working with my University of I started working, let me rephrase that.
Okay.
I started working with my UI resume, with my UI certificate.
Certificates. Yeah.
Yes. So I got it was my UI certificate I used to start working here.
Okay.
So it's not like you have to school here to get a good job. You can
Mm.
use your Nigerian certificate to get a good job. But just make sure
Okay.
that when they're doing background check, you call the school. they, they,
There's
clearance because
no comma in your degree.
Nigeria is a special case because when I was doing my background check,
Mm.
it took me 8 weeks to get clearance. I did not know that you had to call students' office in the registrar's office and then pay a fine before they can release your details before I got my clearance. I did not know that. That was but
Oh wow.
so
Oh
just be ready
wow.
for all that,
So
yes.
is
But
it when they call like that? Are they asking for transcripts or what are they really asking for?
they will ask them to validate your certificate because some people will go and give Oluwale
Stamp form.
certificates and say
Yeah.
they will send a copy of your to validate and then ask for some information that only the registrar the students, what do they call them?
Dean of students or
Something
student.
like that.
I don't forget my sister.
Kai, I graduated 21 years ago. Kai,
I
I mean
mean,
20
it's such a
years
long
now.
time.
Hey, it is well.
It's
But
such a
yeah, so so they have to validate that before you can, yeah.
oh
But
okay.
it's not as hard as people think. But a lot of people also mess it up. You don't study, you don't know anything, you just apply for roles, use mouths,
Mm.
and then you get there and
Yeah,
you can't,
not stuck.
yeah.
Okay. I've actually found that LinkedIn learning to be very useful and very robust. When I was writing my PMP, I don't know what happened. I don't know if I wrote anything about it or whether it was AI picking it up. It just started to send me, resources, and I was thinking, what's my business with you people? Please carry your stuff away. But I found it very, very useful. Like they were actually sending me resources and said, because you said you wanted to do this, here are some resources for you. And I thought, that's really beautiful. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's because I'm on a paid LinkedIn, shall
Yeah,
maybe, or I don't
my
know.
my company gives us the paid LinkedIn Learning, so I get that one free. So
Okay.
that's how I got mine.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yes,
I
it's the
think maybe
paid
it's because
one.
I'm on the paid one, maybe. I don't know. But I really found it very useful. Okay. So Bimbo, so what I hear you. Thank you for speaking to how one can get into the whole tech field. I mean, how to pivot, even if you're coming from a career, a background that is zero tech. and also for stressing that it doesn't have to be the technical part. You can do functional roles and still play in that field. Because right now I hear that tech is the new oil, so that's where everybody should be facing, because the world is being driven by tech. And I wanted to say, what would you say to a young girl who is in school right now and is not sure what she wants to study? I mean, she's thinking, look, I really hate maths and physics, and I don't know whether I should get into this whole STEM business. What would you say to that young child?
The funny thing is, for me, a whole lot of this has to do with identity. It has, we have passed the stage where we have to really spell out to a child, this is what you want to do, this is what you want to do. Because I know that a lot of us fell into that category where we
Yeah.
felt like we have to study one thing to
My
become
mother made
relevant in it.
me write something in my jam form. She said, if you
Yeah.
don't write it, I'm not submitting that jam form.
Yes, and that in the end breeds some animosity, or and
Mm.
when things fail, you say, "Oh, it was because it wasn't
You
my
don't need
option.
to.
I only
Yeah.
did this because of my parents." So one thing, I have lots of male female children that I'm mentoring, and one thing I always ask them is, what's your passion? What do you want? I've actually
Mm.
had one tell me they want to be a physician assistant, and another insisted they wanted to be a nurse. And now, to me, I'm like, if the
Assistant.
Nigerian the only, I'm like, why?
Why?
When you can be a doctor, you
Like,
can eat the fat meat.
hello.
Why are you eating eggs? I'm sorry to the
But you'd
yes.
have to ask them. Maybe you now
So
calm down. That's okay.
I now
Why?
sat down and then I asked them, and then I make them reason. Okay, so a lot of time, sorry, most of our children, they're all looking for the easy way out. They don't
Yes.
want to do the reading or
Yes.
anything. So,
Mm.
and I asked them, okay, it takes you how many years to be a nurse? How many years does it take you to be a doctor?
Mm.
You continue to read, you continue to study as a nurse, and it's the same thing as a doctor. So
Oh,
what's the difference? And then that gets them thinking. And a lot of time I ask just probing questions.
yeah.
And when you ask them probing questions, it makes them sit down and start evaluating things themselves.
Mm.
And then they'll now come excitedly the next, oh, oh, this is what I like. Oh, okay. You won't make them feel like you are the one that steered
And
them in that
once
direction.
it comes from within them like that,
Yes,
it's a game
exactly.
changer.
Yes.
If you
So
had been saying it, forget it. They won't
yes.
listen.
So I really don't believe in enforcing, oh, this is what you should do. I
Mm.
always want them to discover what they think they would excel in, what their passion
Yeah.
is, and then move from there. If they now say, oh, I want to do this, and that is where I am, then that's when I now start guiding. Oh, do you
Yeah.
do this, study this? Why not try this? If you have any question, come and meet me. And that's how I guide. So I
Yeah.
really don't enforce and say, this is what you must do, honestly.
I can relate to that. I did, I'm involved in career day planning in my children's school. They have this career day for the children that are in GS3. GS3 is like, should I say, year nine,
Yeah.
and that leading to high school, so leading to secondary school, senior secondary school. So at that point, they are at the point to choose their careers and help them to choose the subject. So I'm involved in the planning of that career day. So as such, I get tons of students, coming to me like, oh, Miss Brenda, oh, I want to do this, oh, I want to do this. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And I get to counsel them a lot. Some of them just come, they are doing sciences and they think that, oh, they just want to be a doctor. But I found some really interesting children who come to me like, oh, I love the sciences. I also love arts. I'm looking for a course that can allow me to do both designing and fashion. And
Oh,
I'm thinking, oh, wow.
nice.
I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, wow, So, and I think that America has a lot of interesting courses like that
Yeah,
combine
digital
things together.
marketing, web designing. There are a lot of courses that they can do where you
Yeah.
can show your artistic side and also write codes and all that stuff. Yes.
Yeah. So I find that I tell them all the time. I get young girls who say to me, "Oh, I want to be an architect. Oh, what can I do? What can I prepare?" And I say to them that, "Well, you are in the best time. In my days, being an architect, we used to use T-square and board.
Yeah,
You first
and
of all, even the
chicken
carrying of the
box.
board was the work. You first carry the board, then we'll be drawing with many nights with our backs bent and all of that. And I remember that even by the time I was graduating from masters, we were ready
Yes,
to.
yes, my sister
Hi.
joined.
Oh, hi. I saw Pastor Kalu joining earlier. I was going to say hello to him, but you were in the middle of talking and I forgot to say hi. Please, if you're still here, I'm saying hi. I'm loyal, sir. So I mean, in those days, and we'll bend over, we'll draw for many, many years, many, many hours at the time, and it was so super stressful. By the time we were graduating from the masters, the AutoCAD had come out, which is computer aided
Mm-hmm.
design. And even though it was out, our lecturers were still holding on to all this. I say, you must draw. You have to learn how to draw with your hand. Otherwise, what kind of actor can you be? And I just look at them and I think, that was stress. But anyway, that was like 20 odd years ago, 20 plus. And so I don't really blame them. I'm not blaming them. They should well done for all that they did. But the young ones that are coming up now, I tell them that architecture is so much more interesting. There's a lot to help you. So just all you need is your creative mind, to be honest. So I tell them, go and set up your sketch pad, go and put together a portfolio, go and get together something so that you're able to show your creativity, because that's what you know the admissions officer is looking for, to admit you. And they get very intrigued. Oh, what about physics, chemistry, blah, 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 blah. I said, all those are all well and good, but to be honest, it's only in Nigeria that
Be
they are really
added onto
that
you. Yeah.
it's only in Nigeria that they really matter. I'm almost sure that somebody with arts could find themselves in architecture, in a school of architecture abroad. I'm not very
You
sure, but I almost
can,
think like it's possible,
it's just
because I
like
know
you
that.
can, it's just like here, if you, as I am now, I can go to law school if I want to and do the bar
Yeah,
exams. I don't have to study law to go to law school. So a lot of things
imagine.
have changed. A lot of, like, I don't know, sometimes I wonder if AI is a curse or a
I
blessing because,
know, right?
yeah, and yeah, a lot of things have changed. The way we look at things, the way we do things, they're all like different. So
Mm.
I know, I get where you're coming from and I get that angle. But I always encourage people to always be prepared. Like, I just had a mentorship program at Coping University where I had to go do some mock interviews for their freshmen and the graduating students.
Mm.
And I asked the question, what if you have an opportunity to meet the governor? You're in an
Mm.
elevator and you meet the governor, what would you do? And a lot of them were lost. They're like, oh, I'll say hi. I'm like, no. Like, you get what I'm saying? And a
Yeah.
lot of them sound like, I'll be so starstruck. I'm like, no. Opportunity, you never know
You
where the
never know when
opportunity
it comes.
comes. So I always encourage people, always have your 2 minutes elevator speech. It doesn't even have to be 2 minutes.
Yeah.
1 minute is even
One
good.
minute.
Just have your elevator speech that if you meet anybody, you can introduce yourself, you can talk about yourself, what you do and what you
What you do.
want in a minute. It is very, very possible. And I always have them I test them, and then by the time they're like, oh wow, I said, yeah.
Yeah.
So so little things like that actually goes a long way. Goes a
Mhm.
long way. How you present yourself and what impact you make in
Mm.
that little minute that makes you unforgettable.
Right.
That even if they don't have a need for you at that point, once that need comes in, you're the first person they think about. Is what I always encourage them to always do something that would always make them stand apart.
Okay. I like what you just said, and I'm going to.
Ah,
Okay, we're in trouble. Oh. Sis has put us in trouble. Oh yeah, Bimbo, you're the one that caused people. Oh yeah, share your elevator speech. Oh yeah, now.
oh
You're the
my
one that put
God.
us in trouble.
I am the one that always put people on the spot. People never put me on the spot like that.
It's your
Okay.
turn to be put on the spot now.
Okay. My name is Bimbo Kalu. I'm a principal business analyst. I've worked in different fields. I've worked in engineering. I've worked in healthcare. I'm currently a utility program manager. And I hear that you're doing wonderful things in your organization. And I would love to be a part of it if you have any availability.
Easy breezy. I love it.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah. So,
So
yeah.
it's now my
Okay.
turn. So I'm meeting a powerful person, right?
Yes, I
Because
mean, you're
my
meeting
own
me.
the speech in my head. See, I'm even clapping for her already. I'm also impressed.
Yeah.
So for me, okay, my name is Brenda Unwaworo. I'm an architect by profession, but I'm very passionate about women's empowerment and helping them to move to the next level. So as such, I coach women and help them to get to their next best level by discovering the you in them and helping them to chart a path
Mhm.
that just shows them exactly what to do next to get them to their desired end and where God has created them to be. I'm super excited and I'm be happy to join you to partner with me on helping the women in your organization and showing them their real self. I don't know if that was too long, but
That was
yeah,
long. And then one thing I would like to add is make like I've seen your work, I've seen the impact. So
yeah,
you can actually put numbers.
okay,
Like even though when you do the interview, you use the STAR methodology, situation, task, action, results. So you are
okay,
talking about you as a person, the
yeah,
actions that you have taken and the results and the impact you have made. That itself would tell a story. And with that, um, and with that, you'll be able to give
okay. So
something.
say that again. Stars. What does that mean again? Hey, Bimbo is teaching us. Let me get my pen. Oh yeah, stars.
So, star is your situation, the
Yeah.
task at hand, action taking, and the results. Results is it talks about the impact that you've made, and
Okay.
it talks about critical reasoning. A lot of people won't call you for an interview or to come and talk to just be talking about, oh, what is broken analysis, what is this? They won't ask you questions like that. In this age and time, we look at behavior and situation. So
Okay.
I have done this. What's the behavior? Yes, thank you.
Thank
Your
you.
behavior, what action? How would you handle this situation? How would you handle this? That is how it works. So if you're doing
Okay.
your elevator speech, put that in mind.
Okay.
And by the time you put that in mind, you're able to make that impact in a minute. So
Okay.
you can sit down, write your key points. I am this, like you taught us on Saturday, your
Yes.
role as a woman. I am this, I am that. Match all of them together and form your own identity like you would do a profile, and always have
Right.
that ready to introduce yourself because you never know when the opportunity will come.
Thank you. Ah, man, I've been schooled today. People should clap for my guests. I love it. Thank you so much. You see, it's not only me that's getting the bass bozo. All of you are receiving your own. I love it. Thank you
Thanks,
so much for that. And
Clara.
you know,
That's my sister.
also in this conversation, because we're talking about women, I found something, the present role that I'm working in. When I interviewed for this role, I don't know if I've shared the story with you. When I interviewed for this role, I'd been rusty. I'd not interviewed in a long time. I had come out from a job. I had been in a job for 7 years. From then I had worked. I'd been on my own for another 4 years. So let's just say maybe 11 years ago was when I had interviewed. So I was interviewing for this role, and it was so funny. They had said the amount of money they wanted to pay, and so when they asked me what I wanted to earn, I mentioned the amount that was written on the thing, thinking that that's what they asked for. Yeah. Oh my goodness, the woman was so mad, like she was so upset with me, and she said, "You don't do that." She was the recruiter, so I hadn't met the actual person I wanted to hire, but it was the recruiter I was talking to, and she was so upset. She said, "That's the problem women have. Women they're never able to, you know." actualize what their worth is. So she said, "Do you want me to read your CV out to you? How can you ask for this kind of thing? Hey, Pastor, I see you, sir. That's my, please, excuse me. I have husband too." But I love it. Thank you so much. I mean, she's making all of us proud. I'm excited about what she's sharing with us today. And thank you for joining us as well. And also, I wanted you to speak about what do you call it? Imposter syndrome with women. You've
Um,
been working for a while, and especially in this kind of fields where people think that is mainly for men, and so you get in and you start to feel like, oh, I'm not all that, or I can't do all that, or why do they expect me to do all that? How I hear that imposter syndrome is really worse for women than for men. And have you ever experienced something like that before? And if so, how did you come out of it? And if not, how do you avoid it? My questions are plenty, but I know
Yes,
you,
I
you've
am
got them.
actually trying to look for a book that
Okay.
I ordered, and I'm going to give you my story
Okay.
because I think it should be here. Okay, I will look for the name. Yes, it's called Professional Troublemaker. If you guys can go read that book, The
Oh,
Fear
okay.
Fighter
Who is it
Minor.
by? By who?
It's by Ajayi Jones, Love Ajayi Jones, Luvvie Ajayi Jones. She's actually a
Okay.
Nigerian, and
Yeah.
backstory, yeah, she's a Nigerian. She's in Chicago. So in we have an African American women group in my company,
Okay.
and we had a book club where we read this book. Before
Okay.
then, I had been having a bad case of I had a not so good manager at a point that there was
Mm,
nothing that I did that was okay. And because of my accent and everything, sometimes it causes you to just sit back and just take the
second guess
background.
yourself.
And then
Mm,
I was a senior, and I was like, and then you now have people like will talk to you, and because of cultural differences and all that, it
mm,
affected me a bit until I had this. I read this
mm,
book at the book club, and we had our senior VP, we had some directors and manager, and the book
mm-hmm.
practically tells you like you're worth it, you're good enough.
Right.
And it tells you to say your oriki. Oriki is your
I
like
love
when
it.
you're hailing
Hailing
yourself, it will tell
yourself.
you to write it. Say, I am a Bimbola, the daughter of this, a royal person, a this, a that.
Okay.
So that day we now wrote it, and the fact that I was Nigerian and they were
Mm,
all Americans and white and everything in the room. And
mm,
I was able to relate to it and was translating it. And they
yeah.
made me understand that, Abby, you have a voice.
Mm-hmm.
Your voice your voice would be heard. You
Mm.
bring something to the
To the
table.
table.
For you to be in your position, you are
It-
worth it. You
It's
deserve
not a
it.
mistake.
It is not a
Mm-hmm.
mistake. My dear, I know keep my mouth shut since that day.
I love it.
It's a professional troublemaker. That's the name. The Fear
Oh,
Fighter Manual. The Fear Fighter Manual.
I love
Yes.
it.
Yes,
I
my voice,
love it.
yes, sis, my voice is valid.
I
And then
love,
with that,
love it.
I now got our senior VP to be my mentor. And
Mm,
then we'll sit down, we'll talk, and she was like, do this, do that. And with that, I was
mm.
able to grow. Now you know me, Brenda, we've been friends for almost
Yeah,
20 years. My
I know.
confidence grew. I started to talk. I
Mm.
started to stand. Now I work with all the VPs. I work with engineers, and I can tell them do this
Yeah.
with foot with my
As
chest
in,
high.
even look at the way I'm looking at you. Like I'm just like, whoa.
Exactly. So
I love
yeah,
it.
that was one of the game changers for me. Yes. Yeah, check it out. That book is amazing. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
And it's by our
Yes.
sister. Hey, a Nigerian girl.
Yes.
Love it.
Luvvie Ajayi Jones.
I've
Yes.
heard her. I've heard that name before. I don't know where I've heard it from, but I
And
think I've
it's
heard that
and
her name.
we were all laughing while we were reading the book. Like it was, yes, it was
I
audacious.
can just
Yeah.
imagine because even the title alone is enough to get me to get the book. Like I'm going on Amazon immediately after the book. I'm thinking, what professional troublemaker?
Yes.
That's got to be me. I
Yes.
want it.
Yes.
I
Yes.
so want it. I love it. Thank you so much for
Yes.
that book recommendation. We're all going
Yes.
to check it out. Thank you, Koye,
Yes.
for writing it down.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, because I found that even that day in that interview, the woman, the scales dropped from my eyes. Like when I'd mentioned the amount I wanted, she now said, she was so upset. She said to me, do you want me to read your CV out to you? They had been looking for a senior female professional in the construction industry. They wanted somebody 15 years experience. They wanted this, they wanted that. There were so many things they wanted. I had all of them. The only thing was that they wanted a single person, and I was married. And in fact,
How
when I
would
saw
they
it, I was like,
want 15 years
I was so
experience and want
do
you
you
to be
understand?
single?
I was so irritated. I was like, why would you want 15 years experience and you want person to be single? Are you not a witch? Is it not witchcraft? You know? I was really irritated. So I didn't want to even apply for the job. But a friend of mine said, you know what, just go for it. Who knows? And I later another job that I wanted, and I applied for that one. So while I took the time to do the CV, clean up, I had not worked for how many years, right? But because I took time to do the CV and clean up my offer and my, cover letter and all of that, I thought I might as well send it to this other one. I didn't know it was the Holy Spirit that was moving me. So when I sent it to these ones, they are the first people to call me. They called me first because they were so excited. And they said they had been looking for someone to fill that role and they could not find. Because, hello, how would you find? Look at what you're looking for. So when we got talking, I told her, of course, I wasn't single. I was very, very married with 4 children, as a matter
Mm-hmm.
of fact. So, but what really struck me was when she said, how much do I want? And I said my figure. And she said to me that if it was a man with my qualification, what do I think he would have wanted?
Yeah.
Bimbo, I didn't
Double.
miss a bit. I doubled the figure. I didn't miss a bit. And she said to me, so you can think of that number, and yet you don't think that you're worthy of that number.
Hey.
So it got me thinking, as in, I was like, okay, the heat was a lot. I said, I don't know why, but when she asked me the question, without meeting a bit, I doubled the number. And she said, why couldn't you think that you're worth that number? So she spent the rest of the interview talking to me about imposter syndrome, talking to me
Yeah.
about this. She said, this is why we've not been able to fill this role. That if he was a guy we were looking for, guys with half of your experience would have been first in line. Many women have these qualifications, but they're sitting there maybe because they don't have one of the 5 things they want. They will sit down and not apply. A guy may have one of the 5 things and he will be the first to apply.
Yeah.
They say, why are we like this? So she spent a lot of time talking to me that day. And I was so thankful. I think it was just an angel that she was to me. Because eventually, of course, I didn't get the role because I was married. And I asked them though,
Who
I
did
asked them, why do
them
they want single people?
so
And
that
they
you
said
can
to me
work
that
all night?
they said it was a traveling role. And for me, it was a no-brainer. I didn't want that because my husband is also traveling at this time. So I can't travel and he's traveling. Who is going to look after our children?
Yeah.
So I didn't take the job anymore. But interestingly, the one I initially applied for, you know, they now called me, and I now had the experience of this
Yeah.
to be able to speak to them. And of course, I got the role, and that's where I'm working today. So I was so excited about that. And that's why I said to you that I think it was just the Holy Spirit that orchestrated that whole thing
Mm-hmm.
because, to be honest, I'd seen that one first and I didn't apply.
Yeah.
So I say this to say that, when we're talking to women, because this whole series is about empowering women, it's about how can we empower women? How do we get them to come to the table? Which is why I like what you shared about that book and how it really opened your mind. I really want everybody to go and look for that book because it's really the mindset. What makes us think so little of ourselves? What makes us think, oh, we should be quiet, we should be seen and not heard? What makes us think that, what can women do better? How can we get women to, just own their own true selves and make themselves visible, shine with their brilliance? And I mean, I don't know if you understand my question.
I do
But
understand your question, but do you also know that who you meet with your circle determines how far you will grow. You rise
hmm,
by, I have a mentality that you rise by lifting orders. If you
absolutely.
are making it, I'm making it. Grace is making it. Everybody is making it. If I need money, I don't need to come to Nigeria with 10 kobo
With
because I
full
know that
cup,
there's some place to
our
stay.
people.
You get
Yes.
what I'm saying? If all of us are making it and we are all good, then there's really no time for anybody beefing another person or where envy or
Absolutely.
jealousy or anything will come from. One thing I always tell people is discover who you are. Who are you? What do you want to do? And then if you see someone that has what you have, there is no shame in reaching out to the person to be a mentor.
To learn.
This is what I want to do. And it's always better that you work with people that have walked the walk so that you don't make the same cardinal mistakes that they have made.
True.
A lot of people want to help, but if you don't ask, like they say, a closed mouth is a closed
Close mouth
destiny.
to close
If you don't
destiny.
talk, nobody knows what you understand. So if you want something, pursue it, go after it, even if the
Yeah.
person does not answer you at that point, because it's not like they don't want to answer you. Their
They're
place
probably
might be full,
busy.
or it's
Yes.
not what is in their head. Then go after it. If I want something, they know me, I'm shameless. I will pursue it. I
Absolutely.
will pursue it
Absolutely.
because in the end, if I win, I'm growing. And
It's for
then
you.
exact
Whatever you gain is you.
my dear.
So what do you? what is that? I mean, like I always say, my mother says, is it? I think it's even Tokwe that just joined us. She says, you can't shame the shameless. We
No.
have no shame when it comes to things like this. Like, hello, I need this help, I go for it. And I think it's very important for women to normalize asking for help.
Yes.
So I've noticed that women don't ask for help among themselves. They are faster to ask for help from men. I don't know whether it's this damsel in distress, thinking that makes you think, oh, if I can ask, if I do like this, the men will help me. And some of us were irritated by that damsel in distress, and maybe we now fell too much on the other side of not asking for help. Do you get it? So we were thinking,
Sometimes it's actually pride too.
so
Sometimes
I know. It's very, very, it's a lot of pride actually. But I think that for me, for example, when I was in School of Architecture, we were 4 girls in a class of 40, right? So I was almost feeling as if, excuse me, I can't ask for help. They already feel as if the guys should be the ones that are better. So why should I give them the satisfaction of knowing that they're better? So I would work extra hard. I would kill myself at the candlelight just to make sure that I could stand out and I could do something. Maybe it was pride. Maybe there's a bit of pride in it, but I was also trying to distinguish myself and establish myself and tell myself that I could do it. Now, I know that, yes, and of course, we grew up being compared. We were
true.
all, gosh, it was crazy. The comparison was crazy. I mean, and the other day, somebody was trying to compare my children, and I caught her short so
You'd
quickly
have
that
flipped out.
she did not believe it. Like, I was like, we don't do that here. No way. Because my children are as different as night and day. And if you try to compare them, one person will come up short, and it's not fair because each one is amazing in their own way. So don't please, excuse me, we didn't ask for your opinion. Just keep it moving. Don't compare. I hate that comparison thing. And I think that maybe for women, so about help, back to the matter of asking for help, we need to normalize it, and I think that we also need to, as women, do better. So I find that some women, when they've grown up to management level, they start to feel like, we're now the bosses, we're now leading, and they
FLS.
do. And they are no longer accessible to the younger women.
No.
I find that, I mean, tell us what have you done? What have you opened up to the younger people in your organization, the younger women, and how have you helped to pull them up? Please share with us.
So we have a mentorship program in a work that I'm a part of. I'm
Okay.
also, and they support you to also join groups. So I'm part of ERA. ERA is African American Excellent African American Resource Group. And
Okay.
so, and then we do a lot of volunteering. And then also in church, I'm the head of the young women. So I also open that avenue in which I reach out to people as a resource. Like a lot of time, we have those resources that people don't even know are available. So I
Yeah.
try to talk with people. I try to be friends with the children. So because I'm friends with them, it's easy for them to come and talk to me and reach out to me and ask me things. And then
Right.
so I'm always out there. I'm open. I'm an open book. If you reach out to me in a DM, I always try to respond when I have the time. Sometimes I feel 24 hours is
I
not enough, but
I
I try to,
know,
yeah, I try
but
to,
you respond eventually.
I do respond and I do try to work with as many people as I can. You can't help the world, but the ones that come and you can help, I try to make an impact because
Right.
you never know where you would be in the future because in the end your story, your work before you. So I
Mhm.
try to give other people soft landing so that in the end it would help in the end also. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. And that's why mentorship is key, especially in fields like this STEM. I mean, when you were telling your story, you said a lot about, how you got mentorship, how you even give mentorship to others. I mean, in fields like this that are specialized fields that are skill based, it's really important to get mentorship because many people will say, oh, I have a degree in that, or I have a this and that, and they forget that there's something to be gleaned from experience. Mentorship shortens the journey for you,
Yeah.
right? Somebody that has walked that road before can show you, oh, these were my pitfalls. You can avoid them. You can do this. You can do that. But when you come with your pride, that please, I was a first class degree from clinical. Okay, ma, please go ahead, do it by yourself, and make the mistakes. So what would you say to people about mentorship? What advice would you give to young ladies who are just starting out, and even to older ladies about mentorship?
Mentorship is an opportunity for you, like you said, to grow, to learn what other people, and in everything, in all, it's all about relationship, building relationship, and in relationship is communication. You build
Yeah.
relationship, you treat people. I always tell people I treat people the way I want to be treated, but I met a boss that said, what if they don't want to be treated the way you want to be treated? And that thing
Wahala.
made me pause.
Wahala.
So I try to be fair. I treat people in an equitable manner. I
Mhm.
also treat people with kindness. If you
Yeah.
treat people with kindness, you treat people with
You can't go
empathy,
wrong.
it goes a long way. It goes a long way. Even the most hard soul, if you treat them with patience and kindness, they get softened in the end. So
Absolutely.
I try to be, and the Bible says, be at peace with all men. So I try to be at peace with all men. I try to
Quite
do,
hard, but we do our
yeah,
best. And
exactly.
that's why I like how the Bible puts it, as long as it rests with you.
Mm-hmm.
Because some people just be
I
troublesome.
know.
They can nothing you can do. You are trying to be at peace, then they are bringing trouble. So
Yes.
it's as long as it lies with you, shall be at peace. So
Yes.
if it's on the person's head, God too can see the two of you. So
And
it's
please,
not going to go to it.
not everybody can be your mentor. Please prayerfully choose your mentor.
Mm, true.
Prayerfully choose your mentor. Some people can walk the walk but will not teach you the right thing. The
Mm.
people will say, oh, because I suffered, it took me 10 years. So
You
you
should
see,
go and
you have
suffer.
to. It
Mm.
is not that way. I don't believe in that. And then
Yeah,
it is not everything that they give you that you have to take in. Filter
absolutely.
your word. Ask the Holy Spirit. If you're a
To
Christian,
help
ask the
you.
Holy Spirit to guide you. If you're a
Mm.
Muslim, I don't ask God, Muhammad, to guide you and tell you what to do. Let's just ask for direction. Let's say, God,
Yeah,
lead me. And one
yeah.
prayer I pray every day, Father, Lord, yes, let me be at the right place at the right time. My destiny helper is who I want. I want what I
You should
need,
not pass
not
me
what I
by.
want.
Mm.
Exactly. My prayer, what I need, not what I
Yeah,
want.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
in the end, God's plan for you is
It's
always
better
greater.
than what is 1,000 times better than anything you could even think
Yes.
you wanted. And that is really, really, I mean, that's brilliant because to be honest, I sometimes if I find that I was having a session with some ladies over the weekend and we're talking about decision making, and I said to them that, decision making at the end of the day, is just to find your way to enter into God's will.
Yeah.
Because whatever else you think, you are planning for yourself, you are setting your vision, setting your goals, and everything, whatever else you think, once it's outside of God's will, you would struggle. You would struggle. But once it's in God's will, right smack into that, it will just be ease.
Yeah.
No matter even if things come, even if issues come up, there will be ease, and that's how you know you're in God's will.
Yeah.
Even with the commotion or any trials, even though trials come,
It soon
you
come.
go
Yeah.
through
Yeah.
them.
Mm-hmm.
Go through them with ease, and that's really very, very powerful. So we've done 1 hour. I can't even believe it. And just as we're about to round up, I wanted to ask if there are any questions. I know I've learned a lot today. I mean, I've completely enjoyed having this conversation with you. I want to know if anybody has any questions, and if you do, please, this is the time to type them into the chat so that our guests can take them. Quick recap: we talked about what it is to be in STEM. She said to us that Bimbo has helped us today. So she said to us that you need to, first of all, what is your passion? What do you like to do? So find that place in the whole of STEM. Is very broad and very wide. There's the technical side and there's the business
Functional.
processes side, the
Yes.
functional side.
Yeah.
So you can find where you want to play, and you can still be in STEM without being a techie in quotes. Yeah. But you will be able to function as in the functional side. She also mentioned that you should always be prepared, skill up, learn things, read, so that you're mentally prepared and all of that. So that wherever you get to be ready. That's when we talked about the elevator speech, that sis put us on the spot. We both had to share our elevator speeches. Then she also spoke to us about, how to perfect your elevator speech using the stars. What was it again? Situation. Hey, let me go and look for what you wrote. Don't worry. I did
Situation, chat,
a
action,
screenshot.
results.
I did a screenshot, so I cannot forget that one. I'll be back. Then while we're talking about that, we now talked about imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
We said, okay, how do you, because that's something that really worries a lot of women. So she shared with us her own personal experience and how she got freed of imposter syndrome for life just by reading this amazing book called Professional Troublemaker, a Fear Fighter Manual. And it's by our own sister, Luvvie somebody Ajayi. I will be able to look for her. That love is enough for me to find her. So we also talked about mentorship and said, how women should not be afraid to ask for help. If you find a place where you have a weakness, find somebody that is good at that and ask for help, ask for mentorship. Prayerfully select your mentor. Don't just go and take anybody as your mentor so that you don't fall into drama. So that, in a nutshell, was what we discussed today. If you came late, please catch the replay. I'll be saving it after the live. Thank you so much, Bimbo, for joining us. I cannot find questions, so you must have dealt with the topic properly. There's nobody asking any questions. I'm sure they will come to your DM. You already told them that you are open. So follow her. Go and follow our guest. She's Ms. Kalu, MZS Kalu on Instagram, and she's told us she's Bimbo Kalu on LinkedIn. Is
Abimbola
it Bimbo or
Kalu.
Abimbola?
Abimbola
Bimbo,
Kalu.
Abimbola Kalu on LinkedIn. So you can follow her. You can ask her any questions that you have about how to get into STEM. In America. She's in America. She's not in Nigeria with us.
Thank
So
you,
if you are thinking of moving
sis.
there for work, it's amazing. So you have any last words, any final words before we round up? Any last words for our
My last word is always believe in you. Always believe you're a total package. Always believe that you're complete. And always believe that God's got you.
I
That's
love
it.
it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Bimbo. This session it comes to you from the Women's Growth Academy. We have it every Tuesday at 6 p.m. It's called Women's Matters. For the whole month of March, we have an International Women's Day series where we'll be talking about women in different fields. And after March, we'll return to our normal topics, which are basically topics that concern women, things that people don't like to talk about. And we just like to dissect them here on this session so that you can learn and you can grow and you can just be whom God has created you to be. My name is Brenda Unu. I am an architect, I'm a writer, and I'm the lead coach at Women's Growth Academy. If you want to join us, click the link in bio and you can join our community. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Bimbo. And all your amazing family and friends that joined us. I see you all. God bless you. Follow me and be here next week, next week Tuesday. Good night.
Bye.
Take care. Bye. Thank you. Thank you.